If you're in a group interview and you agree with somebody's answer, do you suggest restating the idea or just saying, I agree with so-and-so, and then add additional insight? Okay, so this topic actually came up in a mock interview that I did this morning. So for your group interview, what is the purpose of a group interview? Is it to answer the question correctly? No. Is it to talk about your application? No. It is to see if you can play nicely with others without getting upset, without becoming unlikable, just like people that people don't want to deal with. And preferably if you can exhibit some sort of leadership skills. It doesn't mean you have to be like the boss babe or the boss man and lead everybody to the promised land or whatever, but you need to have some sort of value that you're giving to the group. So one thing that is definitely not is being a wallflower and just not doing anything. And then conversely, one thing it is also not is being domineering and just talking over everybody and then not letting anybody else talk. So those are the two extremes. You don't want to do that, because if you're a wallflower, you're not saying anything, then your voice is not heard at all. And you're a 0 out of 0 just because you didn't say your piece at all. The proctors, whomever, they don't even know who you are, right? I mean, they know who you are because you're in the group, but they don't know anything that you're thinking because you're not saying anything. So that's one extreme. The other extreme is being super domineering, not letting anybody talk, always one-upping people or whatever. So then you're okay, you're not a 0 out of 0. Now you're a 0 out of 10 because you've been heard, you've had a chance to talk, but you're being an a-hole. So don't do either of those things, all right? That's the first thing not to do. What to do is one of 4 things. So try to exhibit some sort of leadership qualities, or at the very least, give some sort of value to the group. So one way to exhibit leadership qualities is the most obvious. If nobody's talking, talk first. The second way that you can exhibit leadership qualities is to organize the group. You usually have a whole bunch of type A type people, and one person's taking things one direction, not even listening to anybody else. Another person's saying something else, another person's saying something else. So after 2 or 3 or 4 of these people talk, find a quiet moment and say, okay, I hear what you, and you are saying. Maybe restate it very briefly, maybe add your piece on top of it, and then try to get people towards the prompt or whatever you're supposed to be doing in this group, okay? Try to organize people. So 1, you can try to lead people if nobody else is stepping up. 2, you can try to organize people. If, let's say, somebody already did that, what you could also do is try to include some of the quiet people, maybe give somebody else a chance to speak, kind of throw your weight around a little bit. So let's say 2 of the noisier people kind of already said something twice, and then there's one person who's just kind of being shy and hesitant. Bring them in as soon as possible so that everyone's kind of even and fair. That's a third thing you can do. A fourth thing you can do is literally just repeat what people say. So after, again, 2, 3, 4, however many people talk, you can find a very quiet moment and then just very briefly demand attention and raise your hand or say something. And because if you say something, and even if everyone's talking and whatever, they'd have to be oh, I'm sorry, did you want to say something? And then you can say, yeah, I did actually. Not so I guess in a catty way like that, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I did. This is what I think. And what you could do is restate some of the other stuff, kind of summarize what everybody else is saying, say what you agree with, what you disagree with, add your own piece on top of that. And that's literally it. That's all you had to do. And that shows that you play nicely with others. You're not being domineering, but you're also not being a wallflower. You are standing up for yourself. You are being thoughtful. You do have an opinion. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You just happen to not be the first person to speak, and that's okay. Only one person can have that, right? So that's all essentially I would do. I hope that was an answer to your question. Basically, there's no perfect answer, but just make sure your voice is heard, make sure you're pleasant, professional, and make sure that you're trying to exhibit some sort of leadership qualities, or at the very least, adding some value to the group. Hope this was helpful.